In this day and age, today that's something that it's so common for us. It's not something that we think about. But when we read these scriptures, we have to put ourselves in the context of where we are. She was outcast because of her situation. It was for this very reason. This, was her dirty laundry. This was her situation that had her so bound. So many times we have so many situations that we don't want people to know about because we're embarrassed by them, we're traumatized by them, we're hurt by them. And these are the things that we hold on to because we don't want anyone to see. We want everything to appear normal on the outside. We want everything to look good on the outside, but yet there are these situations that plague us on the inside.
Yes.
And this was her situation. It was her poor decisions that led her to this place, and she was a prisoner of her mistakes. She was outcast of society because she had made some bad decisions in her life, and she was paying the price for it.
My God.
She was paying the price for the fact that she had been adulterous and was living with this man that wasn't her husband. She was a prisoner to her situation. But this man, Jesus, asked her a question this day. He made a statement and said, "Go get your husband and tell him to come." Now at this point, being the Jew that he was and being the Samaritan that she was, the conversation in its natural sense shouldn't have even gotten to this point. But because of this conversation, because of this exchange, because of this encounter, this woman knew that there was something different about this man. And from what he had said already, she knew that he had something miraculous to offer. She wasn't quite getting it yet, but she knew that he had something to offer. And it's a sign. That's why sometimes we need to be patient with people when we're giving them the word, when we're instructing them the word, because sometimes they're so bound up by their situation. They're so, prisoners of their own mind because they know who they are and they know what they've gone through, and they think sometimes they can't possibly have this salvation. They can't possibly have this liberty that Christ has to offer.
Yes.
And we need to have patience with them. We need to love them and show them the truth of who Christ is.
Right.
So this woman, knowing who she was and knowing this Jew, that she was talking to this Jew whom no doubt, again, these Jews had a holier-than-thou attitude when it came to the Samaritans, and knowing who he was in this context, that he was a Jew, she had two choices. She could have come up with so many excuses. She could have run back and spoken to the man that she was living with and said, "Listen, I've got this man here at the well. He's offering me something great. I really want it, so just come along and, play along with the story, right? You're not really my husband, but for the sake of argument, we're going to make things look good, and we're going to take the time to make things look good." She could have come up with all manner of excuses, but this woman was so desperate. She was so desperate for a change. She's like, "You know what? If you're offering something good, I have no time for excuses. I have no time to cover up. I have no time to conjure up a story to tell you about my situation. Here's the deal. Listen, I have no husband. I'm living with this man who's not my husband." She wasn't afraid to uncover her situation because she knew that the master was offering something.
Right.
We need to not worry about making things look good in our lives.
Yes.
Sometimes we're so focused on covering up a situation because we don't want our brother and our sister to know what we're going through. We don't want them to know the mistakes that we made. We don't want them to know what we struggle with and what imprisons us, what keeps us from having that breakthrough. We saw that song this morning about a breakthrough, another season for the Lord to manifest His promises. But the Lord is asking us this morning, what are you willing to give to have that promise fulfilled in your life? What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to expose in your life so that I can do the work that I desire to do? This woman was so desperate that she didn't have time for excuses. She didn't have time to make up stories or to cover up her situation, but she said, "Listen, I know you have something great to offer. Here's my situation. I'm broken. I'm bruised. I'm here in the middle of the day drawing water, so you know something has got to be wrong in my life. I have this man who's not my husband, and that's why I'm in the situation that I'm in now." She wasn't afraid to expose herself because she knew that there was something greater in store.
That's right.
She knew that there was something greater in store for her that day, that this man, this Jew, this man that came out of nowhere seemingly had something great to offer.
My God.
Church, and we pray so often for the Lord to do a work in our lives, to deliver us from a situation, to take us out from where we are. But we can never have deliverance as long as we're covering up our sin, as long as we're covering up our brokenness and covering up the situations that keep us bound. We can never have deliverance. For those are the things that imprison us. We hold on to them. Why? Because it's a comfort of a sense. It's, we know our situation. We know who we are. We know where we are. And sometimes we hold so deeply to that.
Yes.
But Christ is saying, take it out. Let go. Let go. Don't hide the things. Because you see, he says in the next statement that you've said well. Thou hast said, I have no husband, for thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. And that sayest thou truly. You see, Christ already knows. He already knew that this woman was in the state that she was in. He already knew that she was living an immoral lifestyle. He already knew everything. But he asked the question. He gave the commandment to see what she was willing to let go of to get her breakthrough. He asked the statement to see to what lengths she would go to get the deliverance that she needed. He asked the statement to see how thirsty she really was. You see, she came to the well that day for a natural drink because she needed that natural drink to fulfill her needs and for her household and for her cattle or whatever she had. She came to the well that day because she had a physical need.
Right.
But Christ saw beyond that need and wanted to see how desperate she really was to have the deliverance that she sought. You know, that same statement is posed to us this morning. For we all have situations or have had situations in our life that keep us from getting that breakthrough, keep us from getting the deliverance that we need. We all have situations in our life that hold us captive because we don't want anybody to know about the situation. We want things to look good, and sometimes we put up a facade and to let people think that we're okay, that we're making it, that we're okay, but yet inside there's a brokenness, there's a cry of desperation inside, wanting deliverance from our situation, wanting to be set free.
Yes.
And sometimes the Lord will send along a situation, will send a word and ask us to do certain things that will expose us, will air out our dirty laundry, so to speak. But it's not for our ridicule, it's not to ridicule us, it's not to make us an open shame, but it's to heal us. It's to bring healing, it's to bring deliverance. For you see, as long as you hold on to something, you'll never have the deliverance that you seek. You know, it's sort of like an ulcer. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity. I'm very interested in science, and so I like to look at these things. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of an ulcer and see how it works. You see, on the inside, on the outside, it's covered up with skin or tissue with everything else. So from the outside, you can't see what's happening. But on the inside, there's a hole. There's a hole that's created by acids and things of that nature that are eating away at the hole. So even on the outside, even though things look nice and even, it looks like nothing's wrong on the outside, on the inside, there's that hole, and it grows. The more you leave it untreated, the more it grows. And until you uncover that hole, until you unmask that hole, until you uncover it and apply treatment, it can't heal. It can't heal, and it continues to eat away until it creates such a problem, a bigger problem than it was there to begin with. And that's how our situations are. When we have sin in our lives, or we have a situation in our life that we cover up, it eats away at us like an ulcer. It may start off small and starts off as something insignificant, but it continues to grow and it continues to multiply. And it continues to eat away at our insides until we have no choice but to be exposed, and not of our own will, but it just can't help, because what is on the inside will manifest itself on the outside.
Yes.
It gets to a point where it's uncontrollable, where we can't hide it any longer. For something has happened, we've said something, or something has happened, and the situation has blown up beyond control. How thirsty are we this morning? How thirsty are we this morning?